I remember one year I was unemployed, broke, in desperate need for a job. I didn't even have a car, and times was getting bad. It was rough, right? And I remember us. I lived near a busy street nearby because I didn't have a car. And I remember walking down this busy street, going from business to business, trying to find out if they were hiring. I'm talking about I go to this one business, y'all hiring. Go to the next business. I was just walking down the street, and I remember coming across this furniture store. And I remember saying, "Man, I don't really want to work at the furniture store. I don't want to be a salesman because of all the horror stories I've heard about sales and cutthroat and all of that stuff, right?" But I said, well, maybe they have some other departments in there, another position that I can work. So I went in there, filled out the application. When I turned in the application, the manager happened to be standing nearby, and he heard me and he instantly stopped me and interviewed me. And he began to talk to me about working as a furniture salesman. I wasn't really into it, but he was like, uh, he kind of talked me into it. He kind of sold me on becoming a salesman. And during this time, I was an author of two books. So I figured, hey, maybe I do know something about sales. I mean, I also had a T-shirt brand, right? Had two books that I was selling. Um, I consider myself a salesman in that way, but I didn't want to be like like furniture salesman, car salesman. I knew I wasn't that kind of person, and I didn't want to do it because of just like I said, what I've heard of sales. But anyway, I didn't have any other opportunities, and I was broke. And I said, "Hey, maybe I'll go ahead and take it." Right? And I remember I think it was Brian Tracy. I heard say that most people that are in sales, they just wind up bumping into sales. Nobody signs up to for a sales job. They just kind of happen to bump into it, like, "Oops, there goes a sales job," right? And that's exactly what happened to me. And so they hired me, and I went to this furniture store, and I started selling, and I was not good at it. Now customer service had been my thing. I've had quality customer service skills, been mastered at customer service. So I figured that would help me, right? And so, but people came in. It was harder than I expected, and I wasn't making any sales. And I remember the owner was real kind of rough. And he was like, when people come in, right? He was like, stay on them." And so I remember trying to, okay, I guess I need to stay on them because I'm thinking I'm about to get fired because I kept seeing other people getting fired. But I remember this one older couple came in, and I came in, greeted them, and I could see the owner looking, watching me. I said, "Oh God, so let me stay on them." So I walked around. They was like, "Okay, we just looking," and I'm just okay, and I just steady talking to them. I'm just following them around. Man, those people did a whole U-turn and walked right back out the store. I guess that man said, "Listen, that's it. We done had enough." Because I followed him around. I didn't want to do that, but that's what the owner told me. And this is the kind of people that I know you probably listen to me cringing right now. Like, that's the kind of people I don't like, right? I didn't want to be that guy, but that salesman that owner was on me, right? So I said, man, I gotta get good at this. And so I did what I did with everything else that I needed to learn. Same thing when I was in debt and I wanted to learn how to get out of debt. Same thing when I became a father. The same thing when I took my first leadership position. Same thing when I first wanted to write a book. What did I do? I said, listen, I'm gonna find the person who's this is their thing, this is their gift, right? And then I'm going to either read their books, follow their, take their course, get their information, watch their videos, whatever I got to do. And so that's what I began to do. I began to learn sales. I said, well, who's the salesperson? Who's the sales man or woman, right? And I remember thinking Brian Tracy. So I looked up and watched some videos of Brian Tracy, and I came across some other people's in my search, and I got a lot of books on the sales, right? And so that's when I began to learn that there's an art to selling. There's a process to selling. There's a psychology to selling. And I didn't know this before, right? And once I began to learn the process of sales and what it really means, right? That mixed with my customer service skills, I begin to get better. Now, I will tell you at this job, everything that I dreaded about being, cutthroats and all of this stuff, sleazy salesmen and all of that was real. That was true. It wasn't a rumor. and, uh, and so when I wasn't doing good in sales in the beginning, and man, I'm telling you, they belittled me, right? They insulted me. They joked me. They cracked on me all kinds of things, because I was horrible at it, right? And so you didn't get I didn't get any kind of encouragement. And so my encouragement came when I went home and read the books. That was my homework. And when I came to work, that was my playing field. Got it? So I went home, read the books, came to work, implemented the process, and slowly but surely I started getting better. Right? I'm talking about they used to call me goose egg because I didn't get no sales that day. But as I began to learn, I started to get better. And I remember this one particular month I was doing good, right? Started off the week good, was actually had more sales than everybody there. Oh, they belittled me. Oh man, okay, yeah, Billie's go get top salesman this month, right? And even the owner said, I tell you what, if you get top salesman this month, I'll give you $100 because they just said, oh, that's just luck what I had got that first week because I was leading that first week. First time I ever been leading against anybody. They said, oh, that's just luck. That's just they called it a lay down. All this, you just had those lay downs. The people was go buy whoever had them, right? That's how they used to belittle you. How many of you know? Let me give you this quick nugget. To belittle a person reveals that you're a little person. Chew on that for a minute. I'm gonna say that one more time. That's a Billy Miller quote. To belittle a person reveals that you're a little person. But anyway, that owner said, I give you $100 if you become the if we finish out this month as the top salesman. And some kind of way, I think that was his way of encouraging me. But at the same time, like I said, it was kind of hard. That was his way of insulting me at the same time. But anyway, I took that offer, and so I would do the same thing: go home, read the books, come to work, become my playing field. That's me on the court. That's me on the field, applying what I learned. And I remember this one particular day, I had 4 customers in there at the same time. I'm talking about I was busy. And the managers wouldn't even help me. I was like, listen, can y'all help me? I got 4 customers in here. I'm trying to demonstrate and show furniture to. They're ready to buy, but I can't ring up everybody at the same time. And they just left me hanging, man. Hey, that's your business, right? But anyway, surely, but surely at the end of the month, I got the top salesman of that month. And that owner gave me $100 in cash. But what happened? I learned the process of sales. I also left there. That was my introduction to sales, right? And even when I left that job, I went on and started selling cars at a car dealership. And I worked at a car dealership for 5 years. And I became successful in selling because I learned the art of sales. And remember, I told you I read books and watched videos, took courses, did all of that stuff, right? Out of all of the books that I've read, right? Out of all the books I've read, this book right here is my favorite book. It's called No Thanks, I'm Just Looking. The subtitle is Sales Techniques for Turning Shoppers into Buyers. This is my favorite book because it teaches you the process of sales. If you're new to sales, uh, or you're in sales, but you want to learn how to get better, you want to learn the art of selling, this was the best book that I read. And in case this is your first time on this channel, listen, I love books. And I've read hundreds of books, and I've dedicated this whole channel to sharing with you the many books that have impacted my life. And so, in this particular Billie Reed's book recommendation, that's what I do, right? I'm giving you a book review. This particular book review is on this book right here. I'll put it up on the screen for you, called No Thanks, I'm Just Looking. All right. And if you want to know more about the book, I'll put information in the description of this video. So most definitely want to check it out. But before I begin to unpack some of the nuggets that's in this book, I got to first do some groundwork, right? And so I got to first do some groundwork. So this is going to help you. Like I said, especially if you're new to sales, you're interested in sales, maybe you're in sales but you're struggling, or maybe you have some sort of product or service, you want to watch this video and archive it somewhere because it's going to help you. You're going to need to keep it before you because it's going to be a blessing to you. So listen, walk with me, okay? Walk with me. And so a lot of people don't like sales. Like you may have a product, you may have a service, right? Some sort of service, and you don't want to sound salesy. I hear people say that all the time. Well, I don't really want to sound salesy, and you don't want to come. What it is, you have a fear of coming across like the sleazy car salesman, people trying to coerce you and get you to do stuff you don't want to do. And I understand that, and that was one of the reasons that I didn't want to even go to that furniture store, right? But here's the truth. Here's what it really is. I like this quote by Jeffrey Gittimore. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Take a screenshot of this. He says, "People don't like to be sold, but they love to buy." People don't like to be sold, but they love to buy. What does this mean? First of all, everybody loves to buy. Let's just go and get that straight. We love to buy. Don't you love to buy? You buy things all the time. You just bought something not long ago. Come on, talk to me. When was the last time you bought something? How many things have you bought today? People love to buy what it is. They don't like to be sold. And what does he mean by that? Let me put this. Let me just put it on the screen. You can take a screenshot of this too. This phrase means that people love the experience and personal empowerment of acquiring something. People like to shop, right? But they hate feeling coerced. They hate feeling manipulated. They hate feeling pressured by sales tactics. They hate people that's trying to convince them to do something that they don't want to do, right? And then later you have buyer's remorse, like, man, why did I buy that? I wouldn't even want to buy this. I just felt pressured. I just felt suckered. You felt like you got conned, right? And that's what the real issue is. And nobody wants to have that experience. And because you've had that experience and you know you don't like that experience, now you have a product or service, and you fear coming across sounding like one of those people. You want to sell your product, but you don't want to come across salesy. You don't want to be that, oh, I feel icky like that, right? And so therefore you don't learn sales, and that's a problem, right? But listen, like I said, we're doing the groundwork, right? So check this out. Let's check this out. And so what happens is you got a product, and then a lot of people, because of that fear of sounding salesy, they expect the people to just come. And listen, there's a quote that you've probably heard before, and I'm gonna put it on the screen. It came from a movie called Field of Dreams. It says, "If you build it, they will come." This is from a baseball film in 1989. That's a popular quote that they quoted that, right? If you build it, they will come. And the problem is that worked in 1989. But now in this season, this year, no, that's not going to work. Just because you wrote a book don't mean people go buy. Just because you got a food truck don't mean people go come. Are you understand what I'm saying? Just because you have some sort of coaching service don't mean you clients about to line up at the door. That phrase does not work in this season, in this year, in this time frame. Build it and they will come. No, just because you wrote a book don't mean they go buy it. Please understand that, right? So now you have a product, right? You have a service, you built it, right? But they're not gonna come just because you build it. And I like this quote that Myron Golden said. Let me put it up on the screen. And I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he said. Take a screenshot of that. He says there are millions, if not billions, of people who would buy your product or service if they only knew you existed. Follow me. Follow me. Listen, you have a product, right? You have a service, you know that is good, right? There are millions, if not billions of people who would love to buy it. The only problem is they don't know you exist. Listen, I have this book right here. Listen, I know that if people knew this book existed, they'd get it. I know that. I haven't sold a million copies of this. Not because it's not good enough for a million people to buy it, just because they don't know about it, right? Which leads to one of my quotes. Let me put this quote up here. Take a screenshot of that. If you don't tell people about your product or service, they probably won't know about it. Listen to me. If you don't tell people about your product or service, they probably won't know about it. So now here's the dilemma. Here's the dilemma. There are millions of people out there in the world. You have a product, right? You have a service. There are millions of people out there. You don't want to sound salesy, but if you don't tell them about it, they won't know about it. So what are we going to do? And that's what I'm about to show you in this video of how to answer that. I'm about to show you the right thing that you need to do. Hey, real quick, are you enjoying the teaching so far? Well, listen, you don't want to miss out on future videos. And to ensure that happens, listen, hit the red subscribe button below. And listen, don't just hit the subscribe button, but go a step further and click the notification bell. And this way you'll be notified when I put out more videos. And do me one more favor, leave a comment in the comment section. And this way it'll trigger the algorithm to push the video out even more, so it'll bless even more people. Now let's get back to this powerful message. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to redefine sales. You're going to have to redefine sales. Listen, I understand what you think that sales means, the greasy sales, sleazy car salesman. Listen, there are some of those out there, but that doesn't equal sales. For example, just because a person is black doesn't mean they're going to steal. Just because a person is white doesn't mean they're racist. Just because a person is a man doesn't mean he's a dog. You understand what I'm saying? Now, there are some black people who steal. There are some white people who are racist. There are some men who are dogs, right? But that's not everybody. Yes, there are some pushy car salesmen. There are some people who are out there trying to convince you and coerce you into doing stuff you don't want to do. But that doesn't equal sales. Let me give you my definition of sales, right? But before I give you my definition of sales, let me give you the definition of a product so you can better understand sales. So you have a product or service, right? Now, if you're just some person that just throwing something together just so you can make some money, you don't care if it's bringing value to the person or not, then you on the wrong video, right? And there are some people who do that. They'll just get a paper and draw some lines on it, call it a journal, and say, I'm about to get rich. And they're not caring about the value people get. They're just trying to get something from them. And those are the sleazy car salesmen that you don't like, sleazy salesmen, right? And so, but I know you're not like that. I know you genuinely want to have a product. And what is a product? Your product should solve a problem or fulfill a need. Take a screenshot of that. Your product, right? You have a product or you have some sort of service, right? A dentist is a service. Got it? A hairstylist is a service. Got it? You have a product. Maybe you have a book. Maybe you have you sell food, you sell insurance, you sell cars, you have a product, right? It needs to solve a problem or fulfill a need. And if it's not doing that, then you're probably just somebody who's just trying to get some money, get something for nothing, right? So once you have a product, once you've created something that's going to cause transformation, that's going to fulfill a need, that's going to solve a problem, it's a solution to a problem. Once you have that, this is what sales is. Sales, I'm gonna put this on the screen. This is just my definition of it. And take a screenshot of it. Sales is the process of getting people to see that your product or service is a solution to their problem or the fulfillment of their need. Take a screenshot of that. So it's the process of getting people to see. You're going to have to create a mental image in somebody's mind of your product working for them. Let me do it like this. Your customer, this is your customer. Your customer has problems. They have needs. They have situations that need to be fulfilled. They have situations that need to be solved, right? Your product or service solves that problem, fulfills that need, right? Now they don't know about you, even though your product can help them, right? So what you're going to have to do, sales is the process of getting people to see, opening their eyes, causing them to use their imagination, forming a mental picture. They have to see your product solving their problem and fulfilling their need. And until that happens, you won't get the sale. When that happens, that's when they'll buy. There are two reasons people buy: trust and value, right? That's two reasons people buy. And they're going to have to see that the art of sales, the process of sales, right? The whole process from beginning to the end, all is centered around creating that mental image of your product solving their problems. They got to see it. They got to get a mental image of it. And that's all that sales is. No, you don't have to be salesy. No, you don't have to be a pushy car salesman. You're just going to have to help them see it. Why do you think when you go to a car dealership, they tell you to test drive the car? Because they're trying to get you to see yourself in it. Why do you think when they're trying to sell you a house, they have an open house? Why? Because they want you to come in and see yourself in it. The sale is not going to take place until the customer can see that product working for them. Are you following me? If I'm saying anything you like or you're understanding what I'm saying, hit that like button. All right. And so that's what the whole process of sales, the whole art of sales. And that's why I like this book here. Like I said, I read a lot of books on sales. This one I like the best because it goes through that whole process. It's like an entry level to the process of sales. If you're sitting here watching me and you say, Billy, what is the process of sales? He tells you how in this book. As a matter of fact, let me show you the contents. I'm telling you, this is a good book right here. I like this book. So look. So look at from chapter one. Chapter one is before you even see the customer. I mean, he shows you how to start. Listen, the whole sales start before the customer even walk through the door. The whole prep, right? All the way down to chapter 7, right? Chapter 7 is closing the sale. That's when you get the sale. But look, it gets a chapter after that. Even after the sale is done, he even shows you how to do that. It's a whole process of sales. And he goes through that whole step. Look, chapter 2, the opening of the sale. Chapter 3, asking probing questions. Chapter 4, the demonstration. All of this is centered around you helping that customer to create a mental image of them with your product. Got it? So check this out. Let's look at chapter number 2, opening the sale. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna just show you some of these nuggets that he got in here. As a matter of fact, let me put this quote on the screen. This is from the book. Look what he said right here. He says, opening the sale may be the most important part of the selling process, and it's the key to what transpires throughout the rest of the presentation. Listen, how you started off is very important. That's why you see churches that have greeters, because they're the most important person there. They're more important than the pastor almost, because that first impression is going to set the tone. And he says, hey, opening the sale is one of the most important. He has a whole chapter on opening the sale. All right, let's look at it again. Let's look at this right here. Look at chapter 2. Chapter 3, probing, is about probing questions. I like this too. Oh, this one's good here. Let me show you some of this nuggets that he got in here. Listen, I ain't gonna hold you long. Hold on, look at this. He says, the more you know about your customer, the more you'll be able to help him select merchandise and sell it to him. So the probing part of the sale, right? The probing part of the process is going to help you to get to know the customer. Because guess what? You got a product, right? But it might not be for that customer. And you only want to sell a person your product that is going to solve a problem. And see, a real person, a genuine person, like just say if I'm talking to you and I realize this book is not for you, I wouldn't even sell it to you. Now, if I realize you're an atheist and you probably well, I hate this book, but I'm gonna try to get the sale anyway, then you're the wrong salesperson. What you're going to do as a salesperson, a sales professional. See, it's different from being just a salesman or a saleswoman. I want you to be a sales professional. A sales professional is only going to attract people that want your product or service, and you're going to help them to see that your product works for them. Are you following me? All right, look at this. This is one of my quotes right here. Take a screenshot of this. An average salesperson can find out the what, but it takes a sales professional to find out the why. See, anybody can find out the what. Somebody when they came in the furniture store, "Oh, I'm looking for a bed." Okay, that's the what. But a sales professional is going to find out why. Why are you looking for a bed? Oh, I'm looking for a mattress for a bed for my guest bedroom. Okay. So you're looking for a mattress for the guest bedroom. They don't want a super expensive mattress, right? Are you follow what I'm saying? You're finding out what they need. Now I'm not looking for nothing real expensive. I just want something like one old man told me in the furniture store. I was trying to sell him this. I showed him this $2,000 mattress set, and he was like, "No, this for the guest bedroom." He said, "I don't want them to be too comfortable. They won't want to leave." Well, guess what? I'm not gonna keep trying to sell them that. Okay, I'm gonna go show them this cheaper mattress with but good quality. What about this? And I sold that man that mattress. Are you following what I'm saying? So an average salesperson to find out the what, anybody can find out the what, or or you're looking for some chicken, or you're looking for somewhere to eat, or you're looking for, you follow what I'm saying? So I just want to go to a gym. Okay, but find out the why. And once you find out the why, that's when the sale takes place. Look at this quote he says, your goal is to avoid sales. I think I missed the two. Anyway, your goal is to sell. Your goal is to avoid salesperson to customer relationships and instead develop person to person relationships, which pay off remarkably better. This is doing that probing process of the thing. This is when you're finding out what is it that the customer want, why they want it, right? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to accomplish? You're going to find that out, and and then this process is going to take you from being a salesperson to customer, right? But now it's going to become person to person. Now you're getting personal. You're finding out the why. I hope that's making sense to you. Let me give you some more nuggets. Oh man, like I said, this is a good book. Like I said, he goes through all of this details. Let me get some more nuggets. I'm gonna read. You just listen. He says it is far more important for you to get the customer talking than it is for you to carry the conversation, and that's so true. So during the probing part, you're asking questions, but you're listening. You follow me? You're listening. And so that's what people usually they running out. An average salesperson is going to be running off at the mouth trying to impress people, and show them what they know and doing all of this talking. They're trying to do the gift the gab. You don't need that. What are you looking for? Why are you looking for it? And the more the customer talks, right? He said it's far more important for you to get the customer talking than it is for you to carry the conversation. He says the more customers speak with you, the more they begin to feel comfortable with you as a person, not a salesperson. Remember where I said we're trying to go from that salesperson to a person. Wait, matter of fact, let me just put it on the screen again. It says, Avoid from salesperson to customer relationships and instead develop a person to person relationship. Now you're moving out of the because they know you're a salesperson, right? They see you coming up, they're in the store, but the way you're talking and the way you're getting them to open up, now they're looking at you as a person. Now it's a person to person relationship. And now because they are, you got to be a person who's easy to talk to. And now when they're talking to you, right, they feel comfortable enough to talk to you and yeah, I'm looking for this for my wife, I'm looking for this, right? And now you have that information. Now you know how to better help their needs. Oh man, listen, hit that like button if I'm saying anything you like. Let me show you. Let's let me give you some more nuggets. Chapter 4. Look at chapter 4. This is the demonstration. The demonstration. Let's see. Oh, I like right here. Let me put this on the screen. He says, use words to express, not to impress. So the demonstration is, this is the phase, like once you ask the questions, right? You know what they're looking for. You got all the information. Now it's time to present. Now it's time to demonstrate. Now it's time to show them how your product or service can help them. Remember, once everything's centered around how can I get this customer to see that my product or service is going to help them? And you're going to use your words, right? Listen, to express, not to impress. This, you ain't trying to show them how, yeah, we won 7 awards. We're the business capital of the year. No, they don't want to hear all that. They just want to know how you gonna help me. Can I be real with you? People are only concerned about themselves. That's the reality. They don't want to hear about nothing else. If it's not helping them, they don't want to hear about it. And that's just the reality of it. So they don't care about all of this fancy stuff you're talking about. And y'all been in business for 20 years and y'all helped a million people. I mean, it shows some sort of credibility, but all they want to know is this bed gonna help me sleep? Is this product gonna help me do this? Are you following me? And that's what you call real talk. And then you're gonna be demonstrating. Listen, when I worked in that furniture store, listen, some of the stuff you show over and over and over again, right? And if you're not careful, because you have a product, right? And just say you have a book and you done demonstrated this book. And if you're not careful, you'll lose your excitement because you're going over and ever talk to another person saying the same thing over and over again. Listen what he said. I'm gonna read, you just listen. He said, it doesn't matter how often you've shown the item or how commonplace you think the product is. Your demonstration has to be as fresh and exciting on the 100th or the 1,000th time as it was the first time you showed it. You got to remember, listen, this is the first time this person has heard it. And I don't care if you've shown it to a 1,000 people before. You got to be showing this person like it's the first time you showed it. Just the same energy, the same tenacity. Oh man. Y'all got time for one more? Got time for one more? Let's look at so look, he got all things on there. Handling questions, closing the sale, right? And look at chapter 7, closing the sale. Let's talk about closing the sale right quick. You know, a lot of when I start studying on sales, a lot of the things that a lot of the gurus and a lot of people focus on is the closing of the sale. This is when you ask the customer to buy, right? This is after you've done the presentation, after you've done everything, showed them everything, went over the numbers. This is when what they call close the sale. You ask the customer to take action. Do you want to buy? Do you want? And so a lot of salespeople focus on the closing of the sales. As a matter of fact, they have a popular saying called ABC, always be closing, meaning everything need to be centered around closing the sale. But remember, I told you everything's not centered around closing the sale. Everything's a sales professional is focused on closing the sale, but a sales professional is focused on just creating that image of that customer, seeing your product working for them. Because once they can see it, that's when it becomes valuable. Listen, this book is valuable to anybody, but once they start learning what's in it, then that's when they say, "Oh, wait a minute, this can help me." That's when it becomes valuable. As a matter of fact, let's see. Let me put it up here. I like this right here. Look at this quote. Take a screenshot of this. This is my quote. The average salesperson focuses on the close, but a sales professional focuses on demonstrating so much value that the customer closes himself. What does that mean? See, a sales professional don't focus on the close, right? So now, like I said, the average salesman, they're gonna be it's always be closed, always. Yeah, that's where I'm headed toward. They're always aiming towards that big moment, the close. No, a sales professional, right, is going to be doing that art of selling, right? Getting the customer to see that their product or service works for them to such a degree that they'll close themselves. What do I mean by that? I don't even have to ask them for the sale. I gave them so much value and so much value till they close themselves. They'd be like, so when do I start? Or where do I sign up? Or well, how do I get this? That's a sales professional. That's what you call a sales professional right there. I don't even listen. Of course, you're going to close. That times you're going to close, but your focus should be give the customer so much value that they close you. Well, how do I find this? That's when you know you've did a good demonstration. That's how you know. Hey, where I sign up at? Look, he even wrote in this book. Like I said, this is a good book. I'm gonna give you one more nugget. He said, selling is the most fun when a customer says, "I'll take it," before you have a chance to say, "Will you buy it?" It's that same principle. You got to get this good. Get so good, and that's the fun part. The customer say, "I'll take it," before you can even say, "Will you buy it?" There's some of you watching this right now saying, "Hey, how can I get this book?" Because listen, this book is valuable. Like I said, if you're into sales, you want to learn more about sales, you have a product or service, I encourage you to get this book. You can get it in the ebook, paperback copy, hardback, all the information. I think it's even an audio book. I put all the information in the description of this video. And let me tell you, if you want to learn more about, remember I told you I read a lot of books on sales. That's my favorite one as far as the art of selling. But if you want to see other books that I did book reviews on as far as sales and marketing, I want you to check out my playlist. I'm gonna put the playlist right here, and you just click through there and find which video you want to watch. And I'll see you in that video. Listen, I love you. Stay up, stay blessed, and always remember that the word is your life.